Hi, welcome to my podcast, Real Conversation with Patty, where I bring on special guests that I admire because of the perseverance and dedication to break barriers and show every little girl and boy que si se puede. Today's guest is a person who I admire. She always tries to do better professionally, whether it's practicing her craft to get better or using the best quality for her clients. I have the honor to introduce my special guest, Raquel Lopez. Hello, Raquel. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too. I wanted to start off by asking, what was your childhood like?
Well, I had a lot of siblings. It was pretty hard on my parents to give us everything. Like they always had to buy only like one thing for everybody, and we all had to share. And we had a time limit and stuff. So it wasn't like the best, but I definitely had enough to get me by. I had such a good family, like really good family. They were always so supportive. Just that, like seeing how we were and how we were so many kids. It just like I have to do something different for my family if I ever decided to have one. It was pretty rough a little bit, but it wasn't. I know it wasn't like the worst out there, but it shaped me who I am today, and it made me the person that like I'm proud of actually to like say that I'm nice, like I'm so easygoing, like so sociable. It was just everything that they taught me how to be. I just know that it was because of my parents that I am who I am.
And I could tell that you're really chill, you're really nice, like como que te enseñaron bien.
Yeah,
And I see
super.
that.
I try to always be super respectful. Just you never know what the other person's going through. You know what I mean? Like my parents always taught us to. You don't know what it is at home for them, and then for them to come somewhere and then you treat them bad too. You know,
Yeah.
it's not. It wasn't allowed with us.
What would you say was the moment or life experience that shaped you who you are now?
Honestly, I would have to say I appreciate both of my parents so much. Like it's an equal value to both. Like I love them a lot. But my dad definitely being such a hardworking man, and I never got to witness it myself, but I had heard stories from my older siblings that he would work 20 hours a day. Like how is that even possible? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
just hearing that from him and then seeing it for myself firsthand, just seeing how he never gave up and like always wanted to work, always wanted to have stuff for us, even if it wasn't like what other kids had, like name brand stuff or like everybody had the new phone type of stuff. But as long as he was always proud of having like a roof over our head, clothing, shoes, like all of that stuff, I would definitely say he was the person, the situation that we were in that he put us through, not in a bad way, but just seeing how he went through all of that, it always held his head high. It was like that's who shaped me. And then definitely, of course, my mom, there's 7 of us, so she raised us all while my dad worked. And just seeing her like try her hardest to raise all of us. And I mean, there's 5 boys, and that on top of just boys is hard. You know, you got to teach them to be good men. So definitely both of them. And then, of course, my family, they're definitely my number one.
I think that when you experience firsthand on like how hard parents work for their children, I feel like it's good porque te enseñan. You say, okay, if they did it, I could do it too. Here, right, in the US. So they didn't, no one handed anything to them. So like they needed to work extra hard, communicate and like get jobs.
Just starting from zero, getting here and not having anything and no English, no nothing, to see that he was able to raise 7 of us, like that's a lot. If that didn't shape me or get me to where I want to be, like nothing else will, because they are the like the rock, you know, like how do you not learn from that?
What was your dream as a child?
Oh my God, that's actually really funny. I used to want to be a veterinarian because I love animals. Dogs,
Right.
like dogs are my special type of animal. But I used to have so many growing up. Like my parents used to, pobrecitos se me morían, or like they would, get run over because no los cuidaba bien. But
Yeah.
one would pass and then they just get me another dog, and they just knew how much I love dogs. So I had so many, and then I learned how to take care of them. And I was like, oh, I want to be a veterinarian. I want to be a veterinarian. But you know what? I didn't like school. I didn't, when I was growing up, when I was in elementary and middle school, I was doing really good. I was getting, honor roll, student of the month, like all of that stuff. But once I hit high school, it was kind of like, oh my God, this is a little bit more, like there was some things that I felt like I couldn't keep up with. And then I was just annoyed with all this testing and like, oh, you have to do this to go into college. And I'm just like, no, I don't think that's for me, like, and then I ended up researching how long it would take me to become a veterinarian. And I was like, this is too much school. I don't even like it that much, It was funny because when I had to been less like under 10 years old when I finally was kind of like, my grandma used to live with us, my great
Mhm.
grandma. It was funny because she never let anybody paint her nails, nobody. And if she did, like it was like she just like burgundy or like a really red color, bien
Yeah.
fuerte. So one day, like I told her, like, I
Mhm.
want to do a Mexican flag on your toes. And she's like, she was kind of like, no, but she's like,
Mhm.
oh, I wouldn't say I was her favorite, but I
Mhm.
definitely got along really good with her because I would
Mhm.
always tend to her. Mind you, está mayor, estaba like 80 years old at the time. She was like, okay, like whatever, just do it. Y
Mhm.
se lo dice, my mom would laugh at her. She's like, you never let anybody do your nails, like other than the red or burgundy, And I think in that
Mhm.
moment, I realized this is fun. Like, I think I can actually see myself
Mhm.
doing this. Chismeando, first of
Yeah.
all, just like talking and
Mhm.
getting to do nails at the same time, getting to know the girls, like sometimes even get to know like new people, like that I
Mhm.
never even knew were in town. And I think in that moment, and then I remember my dad had made a comment
Mhm.
and said that his friend was there with him at the house and he seen me doing, like always doing my grandma's pedicure, like I siempre
Mhm.
la cuidaba. His friend made a comment and said, oh, are those your daughters, like with their great grandma? And he was like, yeah, la traen con chonguitos, doing her hair, doing
Yeah.
crazy to her, but they're always like with her, like siempre la
Mhm.
están cuidando. It was just like, I could see myself doing this. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know, just taking care of somebody else and being able to listen to them and talk to them and kind of be like their therapist. It was all fun.
I feel like there would be or should be a satisfaction. Okay, you find something that you truly love, and that doesn't have to be like going to college. It could be whatever you want, as long as like how you say you found what you wanted, and then also making like a connection to it, right? Like you with your great grandma. So every time you do the nails of someone, you're like thinking of her and saying, "Oh my gosh, thanks to her, I found it."
For that exact moment, like
Mhm.
if it wasn't for that exact moment, like I don't think I would have ever realized it. It's just cute because every time I do it, I mean, me acuerdo de ella, she already passed. It's like a good remembrance. Like I know I'll never let it die down.
What did you learn from this industry that you didn't expect from it?
Honestly, the
Mhm.
fact that there's so much more than just doing nails, like it looks like I just sit here and
Mhm.
do nails, but it's like the safety of like their health of their nails. I never even knew that there was chemistry when I went to Milan, like you have to learn chemistry and electricity. I mean, that goes for because I went for cosmetology, so it was like the whole course, but it was like
Mhm.
all of this involved, and you have to be careful not to mix a certain product because it can cause like a chemical reaction. Like it's just so much more into it than I really knew. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna just go in there and like do nails and glue nail tips and then
Yeah.
just draw a bunch of stuff. But no, it's
Mhm.
actually like to go in more into depth, you have to take care of a nail. And I feel like a lot of people are just like, oh, she just does nails, like that's it. Like,
Mhm.
no, it's not that easy as it seems.
I feel like a lot of people, because of lack of knowledge, they just think that nails is just like, oh, whatever, like it's just
They don't
something.
even see it as a career. Yeah, like
Y thanks to you guys, nos sentimos un poco mejor de la
right.
vida.
Guys dump like all of your, not that I mean I love cheese man, but
Yeah.
like everybody like dumps their stuff on me and it's
Mhm.
fine. I mean, I love to hear about it and some
Mhm.
people ask for my opinion. So it's like I said, it's more than just doing nails. Like it's fun to just interact. And like I said, I'm such a sociable person. I can sit here and talk for hours. And
Yeah.
unless I have that certain client that's like, no, I don't want to talk today, or they're
Mhm.
having a bad day or whatever. But other than that, like I can talk and I just feel like this career just fit right into my hands.
Could you guide us, like for anyone who is interested in going to nail tech or, like you said, in cosmetology, what steps did you take to become?
That's probably like the more simplest part. It's like a vocational school, after you graduate high school. Obviously, you do have to have a high school diploma. You just go and sign up, and depending on what you want to do, since I took the whole entire course, like it took me 1,600 hours, which is about, I was full time, so it was like 13 months, I want to say. It's not that hard. It's better. I know some people just go get certified or like go get a certificate and say that they took a nail course, but it's always better to go to an actual institute and then go get
Yes.
your license from the state board saying that you know how to take care of people or like their nail health and like you don't cross contaminate anything. But it's really easy. And then there is like, depending on what school you go to, they offer student aid. I know I've got a little bit of a few grants and stuff, and the rest, I mean, we paid it off with loans.
Do they help you afterwards, like getting your clients or giving you information on like how to get clients?
I feel like that's what a lot of people get mixed up on. When you go to school for it to become a license, they think that, I know I went in there and I was like, oh, they're going to teach me how to do application. They're gonna teach me how to draw stuff and do ombre and French tip and like
Mm-hmm.
all of this stuff, but they actually don't. Like the only thing they want, their whole objective is to
Mm-hmm.
teach you to take care of the client. Like they don't want you to give pass one thing from one client to the other. So
Okay.
you really don't learn like a lot of stuff. They don't help you as much after. I mean, I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure if I would have kept up with the counselor, they would have got me. I know they did do that. They would have got me like a job at a salon, but I was just like, with a bunch of girls, like I'm just
Yeah.
like, it's a lot of drama. They don't really help you with that stuff. They're kind of just, their main objective is just to get you to go to state board and pass your test. Like they want you to
Mm-hmm.
know, just to have that basic knowledge of like taking care of people and not passing. It can turn into something so simple from doing somebody's nails, but if you accidentally cut them and then you don't properly clean your tools with the barbicide, and if that person had HIV, I mean, God forbid,
Yeah.
like you can literally pass that to somebody else because they had a cut and now you put their person's HIV
Yeah.
positive blood into the other person. Like it could be something so bad like that. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's their goal, is to teach you
Safety.
to be careful. And then the same thing when you go to state board, like they just want to make sure that you're being so clean about everything. They don't really
Well,
teach you how to draw stuff.
the good thing is that they're focusing on safety because that
Right.
is
I
really
think that was the most
important.
important thing. Anything after that, you gotta just learn on yourself. I know I learned everything by myself on YouTube.
A lot of people, I feel like when they say, "Oh, YouTube it," like you'll learn something, like they're like, "No, I need to go somewhere professional." Which it's totally fine if you go somewhere professional to learn courses, but like I feel like in YouTube there's a lot of good resources to
Right.
help
And I
out.
mean, now there's TikTok. So, like, well,
Yeah.
me back in the day, a few years ago, there was only YouTube. So I did
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. It taught me a lot, taught me where I am now. Like, now I look at my sets and I'm like, oh my God. Like, and then I look at my old ones and I'm like, who was paying me to do this?
Hey, you gotta start from somewhere, right?
Yeah, but it definitely does. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing wrong with going to take a nail course because I
Mm-hmm.
have taken some on my own,
Mm-hmm.
which I have paid for, and I went and attended them just to,
Mm-hmm.
because at the time I was having like lifting issues. So I went to go do that, and then she taught us a little bit more, So there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong with that. But YouTube is really good, and I mean, TikTok now is like the number one thing. I'm proud to say I learned some stuff off of that.
What have you learned about yourself in this journey of being an entrepreneur?
You know what, man? It's stressful. You think about it and you're like, oh, like I'm gonna be my own boss. I'm gonna be my own hours.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to clock in if I don't want to. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's not like somebody above me that's gonna be like, no, you have to work today or you can't go home early. Like, it's
Yeah.
much more stressful than that. Like you think, oh, it's gonna be so simple, but you become the one person to do everything. Like, you have to book for yourself. You have to text everyone back. You have to have what, like now, back then I didn't have one, but now I have
Mm-hmm.
a booking app.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to put everything in. And there's times it's really hard to separate like your business from your family. Cause now, I mean, I have a kid and I have a boyfriend. It's really hard sometimes where it's caused
Mm-hmm.
issues where I'm like, my job is on my phone. So I'm always on my phone. So I'm
Yeah.
texting somebody back. I'm always on my phone. And that's
Mm-hmm.
sometimes like the things that bothers my kid or my boyfriend. They're like,
Yeah.
you don't know how to separate. And it really is hard. Like, I'm still learning and I'm almost 3 years in. It's really hard to, because you don't want to lose your clientele
Mm-hmm.
because you're not responding fast enough. But then
Yeah.
you're like, my family, like I have to attend to them. Like, ya terminé de trabajar,
Mm-hmm.
like I have to make a borderline and be like, okay, this for the hours where I get to respond. And then this
Yeah.
time to this time is
Mm-hmm.
for my family. So I think that's where it's like definitely downplayed. You're just always going to be busy. You're always going to be stressed out. I know there's times where I'm just like, oh, quiero aventar el teléfono because I'm like, I am so done with like texting people back or just being on social media and trying to post. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
You become your own. Like, you have to post things too, like, and edit them and do all of
Yeah.
these things to make it look. And so it could get more views and you could get more out there. But then to do that, you're going to get more clientele. So it's just a cycle. Like,
Yeah.
you want to get out there and you want
Mm-hmm.
people to know about you, but then when they do and you start getting all these messages, you're like so overwhelmed because you're the only person that can manage all of that.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's one of the things like that I didn't know about it, where I was like, oh damn, this comes with a lot. But I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't say that I would take it back. It's still my favorite thing to do.
What are your daily success habits?
I need my sleep. I'm such a person that if I don't sleep good, like I will have the worst day ever. And I try not to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I start my appointments a little bit later. But I feel like that's one thing. Like, I will wake up and I'll just be like, okay, like stretching. I feel like what's been helping helping me, like stretching out and like moving off. Cause you're just sitting here in one position and I
Yeah.
don't want to be like like stretching. And then for sure, when I go into the restroom and start like
Mhm.
cleaning myself up, kind of like in my head, cause my boys are sleeping. And so
Mhm.
I can't really talk out loud, but like in my
Mhm.
head, I give my own like affirmations. Like you're going to be good. Like it's going to be so easy. Cause I'm not going to lie. There's days where I get up and I'm like, man, I got a full day today. Like I don't even think I'm going to get through it. Like it's just a day where you feel so overwhelmed. And then I'm just like, no. And
Yeah.
once I get to my first client, I think once you finally get yourself in here and like I sit down and I start conversating, I'm like, oh yeah, the rest of the day just goes by fast. So I think being positive to myself and reminding myself, like, you got this, like you've been doing this for such a long time. Like there's no reason why today's gonna be any different.
What advice would you give to someone that wants to start out and be an nail tech?
Practice. If you're in high school or something, or even younger, like de a poquito, get the stuff that you need and do it and practice and practice. So by the time, and I definitely would recommend go to school and get a license, because you don't want to get in trouble for doing something and then not being licensed, because then you'll never be licensed again. But start off, like if you know that this is going to be something you want to do and it's your passion and you're already like kind of good at it and you already have some stuff going on, like keep practicing. Like trust me, I was a person where I got licensed back in 2018. I didn't work until 3 years ago. So it's like between that time, I was too scared to work into it. And I was like, no, I'm not even that good. I would see other people's work and I'd be like, they're way better than me. Like, I'm not even a client. Don't have that mindset. If I keep practicing, and if you have little sisters, if you're your friends, even if you, I know sometimes it sucks, you have to do them for free. Or if you tell them, like, hey, just give me like what you can or whatever, just practice. Whoever is down to do it, just practice on them. By the time you get to school, you're already good and you're already like getting one on. Because I know that's one thing where I messed up, was that where I was in school and I wasn't posting anything. So no one really knew. And then that's why I was more scared to go into it. Because I mean, I had offers to go work at a salon and I was like, I'm too scared to mess somebody's nails up and stuff. But my number one supporter has always been my sister. My sets could have been so ugly those past years, but she'd be like, do my nails, do my nails. And I mean, she loves having nails. Because of her, like, thanks to her, I am so much better now. You know, she was my guinea pig. And so if you have somebody like that, like for sure, if they let you practice, do it. Just get better, keep trying and keep trying. Because that's how I was too. My friendships were horrible. And now I'm just like, I love them. Like, I love how I do them. Never give up. Like, keep trying. I know you're going to have days where you're like, I don't even want to do this anymore. Like, nadie me hace caso. I don't get any likes. I mean, I have 1,500 followers and I don't get like a lot of likes. I'm like, that doesn't stop me. I still love doing this. I know my sets look really bomb and my clients keep coming back. You know, I have a whole clientele now. And I'm pretty sure 3 years ago, me is like, I'm sure they're surprised. Girl, where are you? Who
Yeah.
are you? How do all these people know you?
She would be so proud of you.
Yeah, I know. And even 10-year-old me doing a Mexican flag on my grandma's nails, you know, I know she'd
Yeah.
be like, oh my God, we have all of this. Like you work and you work from home and you get to be with your kid all the time. It has its perks. If you know this is what you're going to do, start now and practice and practice and practice. Never stop practicing.
I would like to know whose career-wise inspires you.
I would say that it's always been Natalie Carmona. She's on YouTube. She's like one of the persons that I would watch y entendía like todo lo que me decía. Anything that she said, I understood and what she meant by it. She's a really good teacher on YouTube. I never took an actual class with her, but she's definitely, thanks to her, like I know a lot about how not to get lifting and or just building the apex. You know, it's like little things like that that she taught me. But she's really, really good. I would say that that's my number one.
In the future, would you think you would go or register for a class with her?
Probably, yeah. But the only thing is that she's another state. So unless she offered, I don't know if she does like video calls. And it's always better to be in person. But I'd be so down. I think she's down in Arkansas. So I would totally be down for like one day just to catch a flight and just be like, I'm gonna go take a class.
If you weren't in this industry, what career would you like to explore?
It's funny because when I was growing up, my parents always told me they seen me working in an office. My dad used to say that yo era su secretaria. So I think if it wasn't this, and then definitely like veterinarian gets ruled out because I don't like school. But I think I would definitely be working in something with office. They always said like taxes or something, which I don't know about all of that, but I would definitely do something in an office. I don't know what, but they always said like I was really good at interpretando like sus cartas que le llegaban. I'm the youngest one. I have 6 other siblings ahead of me, and they would get me because when I was growing up with them, ya nada más quedamos 4. So out of all 4 of us, I was the one that was better at Spanish and like better to interpret things for them. So I'm like, dude, I'm like 8 and I'm over here reading your letter. letters to you, you know? And my dad used to work in the field, so like, ya ves que llegaban con las aplicaciones to their W-2 forms and stuff like the time. So all of that, I used to fill that out. So I know if it wasn't for this, I would be doing something in an office. I don't know what it would be, but it would be in an office.
Something related.
More that I was gonna do.
What advice would you give your younger self on achieving your dreams?
I think that I would have told myself to not be so scared. It's not as scary as it seems. I wish I would have asked my friends because I feel like that's what was one thing at the time, my high school friends and stuff, I was afraid to ask them to let me do their nails, even if it was for free, you know, but I would have definitely like probably like tried to expand more, like tell myself like don't be afraid. You're just gonna get better from here. I mean, it's not gonna get worse. That and to like have started like an Instagram a while back because I never had like I think the only thing I had it when I was little was a Facebook. And then I never had an Instagram or anything like that. Nail sets are pictures, you know, so Instagram would be like the better area to do that in. But I would say like not to be afraid. I would have pushed myself a little bit more and not been, especially after having my license, like I should have went into work for that. I should have practiced at least, not waited this long until a whole pandemic happened and where I ended up having to leave my job that I had. I used to work for a store and I had to stop working there because there was no childcare. And my son, I couldn't just leave him alone, you know, like, and then the people that were watching it for me, they were like, had some type of immunodeficiency problem. They were like, oh, we kind of don't want to watch your kid anymore because you work at a store and you're around all these people. Like, what if you bring COVID to us? You know, so it was like all of that. But it sucks that it had to have been something like that that made me become a stay-at-home mom. And so I was like, I gotta do something. So I wish it would have happened sooner, you know, but definitely still happy that it happened the way that it happened.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason.
I mean, it jump started me.
To end the interview, I'm going to ask you a bonus question, and that is, what advice would you give to the girls and boys watching this?
I didn't mention this, but I was from Rich Grove. I grew up in Rich Grove, and don't let those people tell you that because you're in a small town, like you can't do anything. I'm still in a small town, but I'm pretty sure like no one expected like this because I used to be really shy. I wasn't like well known in high school. Don't let that stop you. Like if you're from a small town, a lot of people used to like talk a lot of stuff about Rich Grove. I'm just like, whatever.
Haters.
Yeah, but don't let little things like that stop you and never let somebody tell you too that you can't do something. And most importantly, don't let yourself tell you that you can't do it because you definitely can. I wish I would have never been so hard on myself. I don't know. I would just say like don't listen to anybody and sometimes don't even listen to yourself. Like especially if you're doubting yourself, like don't. Try to always be positive. And now that there's so much positivity out in the world, like you can find so many good affirmations or just listening to certain stuff that will make you feel better about yourself. Definitely do that. Never listen to the bad stuff because it's only going to take you to a place where you can't get yourself out of.
Thank you so much, Raquel, for taking your time to interview with me. It really means a lot, and I know this conversation will help others fight on, make their dreams come true, porque si se puede. Thank you for watching and listening to this podcast, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.